Okay, the time has come, friends. We are about to finally dive into The Possession of Alba Diaz. This is a new Isabel Cañas book that is set to be released in August. I believe August 19th is the release date. I got approved for an ARC advanced copy through NetGalley. So I have a copy of it on my Kindle. And no plans for today, so I'm excited to get into this. It's very dark and rainy and moody outside today, so that is perfect reading weather. Perfect dark, horror, moody novel reading weather. So yeah, it couldn't be a more perfect day to start this book. I'm so excited. So this book is an Isabel Cañas book, who is known for writing like these beautiful horror books that take place in Mexico. Usually they're historical fiction, and usually there also is like a romance element that she incorporates into the books that she writes, which I love. Vampires of El Norte is one of my favorite books. Love that one. So she's got a lot to live up to, but I am hopeful. So I don't know much about the book other than like the blurb, the synopsis that would be like on the back cover, which is that this takes place in 1700s Mexico, and there is a plague that is ravaging the town. So Alba Diaz, who is the wife of a merchant, a wealthy merchant in Mexico, and her family, they escape to the family's mine to avoid the plague, and just stuff starts going down in the mine. It's haunted, she becomes possessed, and then the story goes from there. So, sounds very promising, sounds very spooky, very full of Mexican imagery. So, I'm excited about it. It sounds like there also is going to be like a little forbidden love element to it. So, all the things that I love. I'm very ready. And just reading the dedication on this, I'm like, this is going to be good. It's off to a good start. It says, "For my story, Doctor, aren't you thrilled that the first book I have dedicated solely to you is the grisliest one yet?" Sounds promising. So I am going to get into it. I'll check in later today, see how we're doing, see how the story is unfolding. The Possession of Alba Diaz. Let's get into it. Hello. It is Sunday. It's about to be noon-ish. I woke up this morning and was planning on doing some more reading, but then the F1 race was happening and it was intense. It was the British Grand Prix and it was rainy and a lot of stuff was happening, so I was like hooked on the race. Didn't get to do a lot of reading during it. So off to a slow start reading-wise, but yesterday I got like a quarter of the way through the book, which is fast for me. I usually like a normal sized book. Like this is, I believe, almost 400 pages. So that would typically take me about a week. And I'm already a quarter of the way through. Honestly, like it might still end up taking me all week because obviously today is the last like free day and then I'll have to work on Monday. So my reading will probably slow down throughout the week, but we're off to a good start. I'm already a quarter of the way through, so I've already gone through like the exposition portion of the novel and that was really good. I feel like for historical fiction, especially one that's like so far in the past, this takes place in 1765. So just like that 19th century and back is kind of all so unknown to me. Like I have no frame of reference for that. So I always have to kind of get my bearings when it's a historical fiction that takes place so far in the past like that. But yeah, so this one takes place in 1700s Mexico, in Zacatecas specifically. And once again, I am grateful that I read Open Veins of Latin America a few months ago because that gave me a lot of context to Mexico in the 1700s. And specifically, this novel is about a silver mine in Mexico and Spanish settlers and wealthy criollos that have come to Mexico to exploit its natural resources and to gain wealth. And that book, Galeano's book, helped give me a lot of background information, a lot of historical context for that. So I'm really grateful because, yeah, we just dive right in the novel. We don't get a lot of historical context, but it is very intriguing and you can tell that Isabel Cañas has done her research. She knows a lot about it. So yeah, it's very interesting so far. A couple of points that I now understand a little better is that Alba Diaz, she is the daughter of a wealthy merchant in Mexico. And she is not the biological daughter of her parents. She was adopted and her parents are criollos, so they are of Spanish descent. They're very light-skinned, white, and she is different from them. She has dark hair, dark eyes, and she's still very fair-skinned, but within Mexico at this time, there was a very distinct and strict caste system. So there was like a ranking of people in classes, and depending on how white you were and how directly tied to Spain is how much power you had in society. So her parents are at the top of the caste system. They're criollos, directly descended from Spanish settlers, but because she is adopted and we don't know her background 100%, she is kind of outcast and seen as less than by her family society. And Carlos, her fiance, she has found herself in kind of a marriage of convenience type of situation. She is engaged to him because his family is also very wealthy and powerful and has high status as peninsulares, but her family is actually in a lot of debt because they purchased a silver mine that has now cost them a lot of their wealth, and they owe a lot of money to Alba's family. So she's friends with Carlos. She's like, I'll get engaged to you. I'll marry you because that will put my family in a position where they won't be able to cash in on your debt and how much you owe my parents. So Carlos agrees to this. It gives Alba the freedom from her parents and from a society that sees her as less than. But there's no like romantic feelings between the two. Yeah, so at this point of the novel, a quarter of the way through, we have gone from the city where the plague has started spreading to the mine to the Hacienda Minera, where all of Alba and Carlos's family has relocated to in order to escape the plague. And yeah, in the chapter that I just read last night, Alba was starting to hear some voices drawing her to the depths of the mine, and also something in her that was telling her, like, stay away, something bad is going on there. So she has like these two forces that are pulling her in different directions, and it's getting very ominous, very spooky. I'm really liking it so far. I really can't wait to keep reading, see what's gonna happen. And yeah, the little hints of romance are starting to get sprinkled through as well, so that's very exciting to me. Yeah, I think it's gonna have a lot to live up to because Vampires of El Norte is so special to me. And I think I'm very biased towards that one as well because it takes place in the Texas-Mexico border. So, you know, that's just always gonna do it for me. That's always gonna feel like it hits home harder. It's gonna feel more relatable to me, even though nothing about that story was relatable, but it was just like, I know where we are in space and time. So yeah, I love that one a lot, and we'll see. Maybe this one will end up taking the crown, but either way, I'm really enjoying it so far. Yeah, we'll see how much I can get through today. Probably, I'm definitely not gonna finish it today. It'll be a few days, but yeah, I'll catch up with y'all in a few. Yeah, I got a slice of pizza and I'm gonna eat it in my car. I love eating my car. Maybe unpopular opinion, is it loserish? Maybe, but do I love it? Yes. Hello, it is Thursday evening. This week, I'm gonna be honest, has not been a great reading week. I've just not been super in a reading mood. I'm liking the book, but it is a little like more quiet and slower paced than I feel like my attention span can handle right now. My audiobooks I've been listening to just a lot of like really lighthearted romances. Well, lighthearted, maybe not so much, but like contemporary romance. Right now, I'm reading the fourth Lila Sage book, or listening to the fourth Lila Sage book, and getting through that one really quickly because that one's like very easy reading, easy listening, and that's been like about as much as I've been able to handle for these past few days. I've read a few chapters here and there, but I'm at this point only just now getting to the 50% mark of the Possession of Alba Diaz, but I am liking it. It is a lot more, like if I'm comparing it to the two Isabel Cañas books before this, The Hacienda and Vampires of El Norte, it is a lot more like the Hacienda in setting, because it takes place like in this Hacienda Minera in Zacatecas, and the atmosphere is a lot more like drab. I don't know if drab is the right word, but like it's very, the vibe is a lot more, the setting is a lot more like the Hacienda, and just like in the content as well, because it is about a possession, so there's a lot of like religious imagery The priest Bartolome is like a big character in this, and you know, the priest in the hacienda was also a very prominent character, although in this one he's not like the love interest by any means. So yeah, it reminds me a lot more of the hacienda, which is not necessarily my favorite. I definitely like Vampires of El Norte a lot more, but yeah, I'm enjoying it. It has that thing that I really like in Isabel Cañas books where like the romance, it almost feels like you're reading like a period romance, like a Regency romance, where it's like, oh, the forbidden lingering looks, and like Alba is engaged to Carlos, who they don't have any romantic feelings for each other. They both acknowledge that like this would be purely a marriage of convenience to benefit both of them and their families. So she starts developing like these weird, strange, sinful feelings for somebody else, for Elias, Carlos's cousin. And she's like, oh my god, like I shouldn't be having these thoughts, like this is so impure, and like I can't be seen with him without my husband, and like, oh my god, he's gonna see my ankles and that's so scandalous, like that kind of vibe that I'm like, yes, give me all the longing and the impure thoughts. But it's very like chaste, which is a nice contrast to something like Wild and Wrangled, which is like, you know, just contemporary romance. So I like the duality of it that I'm experiencing right now. But yeah, a slower reading week, but I'm sure it'll pick up in the next few days as the weekend is getting closer and like my brain is unfogging a little bit. It's just been kind of weird, kind of hard. Tuesday, I showed y'all some clips, but I went to a Maria's concert. My friend got tickets to a taping of a Maria's concert. ACL Live here in Austin, they do these tapings where you're not allowed to record, you're not allowed to pull out your phone. So that was the first time that I've ever not been able to record at a concert, and like as frustrating as that was, it was also nice to just like be present, be in the moment. I have no ocular proof that I was there, but that concert was magical. We were so close. The Maria's is so good live, and yeah, it was great. And maybe when it comes out on PBS or whatever, I'll try to watch it somehow. But yeah, that was Tuesday evening, so not a lot of reading got done. And then yesterday just kind of passed me by as well. I did a little bit of reading, but yeah, hoping to pick it up a little bit now. We'll see. Dude, I can't with Elias. Alba comes into his room literally possessed by the devil. She's like, she flies in, bangs the door open, she's in possession mode. She has a knife, she's trying to kill him. She like presses him up against the wall, knife to his throat, and he's like, wait, but she's like in this really sexy nightgown. Oh my god. And he gets distracted, and that's how he's almost, because he's like, hold up, you're like pressing your body against mine. She's in full devil mode, and this man is like kind of hot though. I can't. It is now Sunday. I think maybe exactly a week after I started reading The Possession of Alba Diaz, or maybe a week and a day. I don't quite remember, but I did finish the book last night. So if I did start on Saturday, it took me exactly a week, and I really liked it. Towards like the last 30% or the last third of the book, I was like eating it up. I was like, I need to know what happens. The end really got very suspenseful, and I was intrigued. I was locked in. I needed to know what happened. And yeah, I liked how it wrapped up. I thought it was very intense, but in the end, just very like satisfying and like well-rounded ending that I enjoyed. Isabel Cañas, she does it again, baby. It was such a good book. And did it top Vampires of El Norte for me? Not quite, unfortunately. Or fortunately, I mean, it's just goes to show how much I freaking love Vampires of El Norte, because this was like a perfectly great book. I enjoyed it a lot. There was very few things that I can like nitpick or like point to as cons, but Vampires of El Norte just like, I just love it so much. This did kind of make me want to reread it. I know I always say like there's so many books that I want to reread. I'll reread them eventually. I still have a lot of life to live and a lot of time to reread books that I love. So yeah, one day I will reread Vampires of El Norte. Mark my words. But yeah, just like Nestor and Nena, like them as characters and their relationship and the setting of Vampires of El Norte just like makes it number one for me. But this one was really good. I still enjoyed it a lot. I liked the characters of Alba and Elias. Yeah, I thought it was really interesting what she did with Elias's character and making him like half Arab and exploring like that dynamic and why he was ostracized, or like how because of his background and not being fully Spanish, he was ostracized from the family. And then seeing that kind of parallel with Alba and her ambiguous features and like not fitting in, not being fully accepted by her family and her community. I also really liked the exploration of the priest and the Catholic Church in this time period, and how Isabel Cañas kind of highlighted the different types of greed that drove imperialism and colonialism in Mexico. One with the aristocratic families and the mineros, like Alba's family and like Carlos's family, who came to exploit like the natural resources, the silver in the mines. And then on the other side, we have the Catholic Church, who came to force Catholicism on the native people of Mexico and use religion as a tool of the empire and as a tool of colonization. So I liked that double exploration. And this is kind of gonna get into a little bit of spoiler territory, but I will put a little spoiler tag up here just in case you want to know like absolutely nothing further, but I won't fully spoil the big plot points. This is going to be a little more general, but just in case. I really like, just to add on to like the commentary on Catholicism and religion being used as a tool of colonization. Like I liked that, like the whole time the priest, what was his name, Bartolome, he felt really shady, and like when he started helping Elias and Alba, I was like, okay, like I guess maybe we just like, that was a red herring. We misjudged him because Alba just felt something off the first time she met him in Zacatecas. And I was like, I don't trust this man, but I guess he's fine. He's helping them. And then it gets like darker and we find out his real motivations. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. And then at the end, when Isabel Cañas explained like where this demonic force came from and the fact that it came to Mexico via the priests bringing Catholicism to Mexico, and that's when the spirit came and like dug itself into the spirit of the mind. I thought that was really clever and interesting, and I enjoyed that. The thing that I enjoy the most about Isabel Cañas's books is really her writing and how she's able to make everything sound so beautiful. Like, there was so much darkness and gore and death and like just a lot of horror in this. This is a horror book, but the whole time I was like, oh my god, like her writing is amazing and beautiful. And there are some horror books, like I've read a couple of other possession books that I didn't really love because they were just like too gory or like too graphic in a way that felt like gratuitous, or like, I don't know, something about them didn't hit for me. But this one, even in its darkest moments, I was like, that's very scary and horrific, but also I was like, oh my god, the writing is gorgeous. Like, even when she's talking about, and I really liked when she was talking about both within Alba and then outside, as Elias was observing Alba become possessed, and like the shift that happened between when Alba was herself and when this like demonic force was taking over her. Just the writing of that was really cool, both from her perspective when she like suddenly feels like she's not fully in control, and then also when Elias is observing her and suddenly like her face turns gaunt and you can see like her flesh and her bones, and like she starts moving in like a jittery, sporadic way. Just incredible descriptive writing by Isabel Cañas. And truly, like, in a book full of gore and horror, just the most beautiful romantic writing like that I've ever freaking read. Like, how is she able to do that? I am amazed every time. There's this passage that I highlighted that I was like, I don't know that I've ever read more romantic writing before. It says, what a feeling it was to want, to crave, to bend towards someone's touch, so desperate for it that it was exquisite, that it felt akin to pain, to be bruised by a reverent mouth, to gasp when teeth found the soft fruit of lips and bit, to drink his moan as if it were the one oath binding her to this world, to scarcely breathe, for what was the work of breathing when mouths could do this? This is from Alba's perspective, and just the most gorgeous writing. Like, wow. Wow, 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 wow. Isabel Cañas, the woman that you are. That being said, though, there were some moments of the book where I was just feeling like it was moving a little slow. We did spend a lot of time with all the different instances of Alba being possessed, and I understand that's what the book is about, but it was like, okay, what else is gonna happen? And yeah, just like compared to vampires, the setting itself was like a little bland in my opinion. Like, there just wasn't a lot of intrigue for me there in terms of like the mine and the hacienda minera. It felt like it was all taking place in like one drab room and not much else was going on in terms of setting. So I think that just made it feel a little slow, and there were times where I was like losing interest a little bit, but then something would always happen that would like reel me back in and make me intrigued. And like I said, especially towards the last third of the book, everything was really ramping up. But yeah, I would have loved to spend more time delving into Elias's background, and like, you know, he kept reflecting on like all the years that he was in Spain and when he was traveling and when he was thrown in jail, and some things in his background that I won't say here because they're spoilers, but like some things we find out about him. And I would have loved like some flashback scenes to explore that more fully and just get to know Elias more as a person. I feel like we could have cut back a little bit of like all the times where we were dealing with like Alma being possessed and maybe explored that a little bit more. But just like some minor things that keep me from giving this like full 5 stars and liking it more than other Isabel Cañas works. But yeah, I'm very, very glad to have read this. I really did enjoy it, and I think it's a great book. Thank you to Isabel Cañas and to Berkeley Publishing for allowing me to read this advanced copy, and I definitely recommend picking this up if this sounds like your kind of thing when this comes out, August 19th. Peanut is being a little shit. I don't know if you can see him. But yeah, it's been a great week of reading. It's been raining a lot, so it's just felt like the perfect excuse to just stay home and cozy up with a dark, atmospheric book. But the rain has been a lot more damaging and devastating in other parts of Texas, not too far from here. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. My heart goes out to everybody who's being affected by the Kerr County floods, and I'm gonna leave some resources for ways that you can donate and help the relief efforts for Kerrville and the surrounding areas to recover from all the disaster that the flood has brought. Reading-wise, July has been an incredible month so far. I'm looking forward to our wrap-up so I can tell y'all about all the other great books that I've been reading this month. I started a new book today, the most recent, Silvia Moreno Garcia, The Seventh Veil of Salome. So I'm excited to get into that one and chat with y'all about it soon. But okay, Peanut is on one right now, so I'm gonna wrap it up for now and just say thank you for being here. Hope you're taking care of yourself, and I will see y'all later. Bye.